Okay, in this video, I'm going to ask some questions as we go through so you can write down your answers to those questions. But actually, it's just as important to follow what's going on in the Latin and try and make sure that you understand that. So you get a bit of extra input in addition to what we can do in lesson time. So, this story, as you can see, is called condicio, meaning a proposal. And it begins here. So the subject is kurax. Kurax, the main verb, usually at the end, is poterat. So was able. You can see there it's imperfect tense, was able. And then usually with a verb like was able, we need an infinitive. So the infinitive is invenire. He was able to find. And then we need an object of that, which is dominum, meaning his master. So Kurax was able to find his master, and then the object, sorry, not the object, an adverb going with that is nusquam, meaning nowhere. So Kurax was able to find his master nowhere. Okay. And then if we go on, nam means for or because. And then you've got extra, which is a preposition meaning outside. And then it's outside the town walls. So that is what we're outside of. And then Pompeiorum, you can see Pompeii is the town of Pompeii, and it's genitive case. So outside the town walls of Pompeii. Okay, so the first question that I'm going to ask here is about line 1. And the question is about moinia. And my question is, why is that noun in the accusative case? Why have we used the accusative there? Okay, so for outside the town walls of Pompeii, in umbra, in the shade, and then arboris means of a tree. So in the shade of a tree. And then proper is another of these prepositions, meaning near. And then flumen sarnum means the river Sarno. And we can see that's a river near Pompeii. And then stabat gisco. So was standing gisco. Or you could say gisco was standing. So, just to go back over that sentence again, for outside the town walls of Pompeii, in the shade of a tree near the river Sarno, was standing Gisco. And I'm going to ask another question at this point, which is about the word stabat in line 2. You can see that it is imperfect tense, third person singular. My question is, who is the subject of that verb? Okay, so going on a little bit. So iterum, an adverb, again. Now when you see epistulam, you should immediately be thinking, okay, that is accusative. It's the object. So I need to look somewhere else for the subject. Now, there isn't a subject in the main clause, so I would just take the subject from that verb, legit. So legit, he read. Okay, so again, he read a letter. So epistulam is the object in the accusative case. Again, he read a letter. Quam, which. Amicus scripserat. So amicus is the subject of scripserat. It means a friend. And then scripserat means had written. And I say had written because it's pluperfect tense. It has those pluperfect endings, eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratis, erant. So just to go over that sentence again, it means, again, he read a letter which a friend had written. So I'm going to ask a third question here, which is based on line 3. And my question is, quam in this context means which. So what I would like you to give me is two other uses of the word quam. So two other ways you can use the word quam in Latin except for the meaning which. Okay. Going on there, in animo, in his mind, and you can see mind is ablative because it's after in plus ablative, meaning in his mind. Now, you notice here, verba is plural, and volvebat is a singular verb, third person singular. So the words cannot be the subject of volvebat. The subject must just be he, because I can't see any other singular nominative case noun here. So in his mind, he was turning or rolling, and then verba will be the object, the words, and then diu is the adverb meaning for a long time. So in his mind, he was turning the words for a long time. Now, I'm going to ask a fourth question here, and the question is going to be about the word volvebat, which is in line 4. And my question is, how can you tell that that verb, volvebat, is in the imperfect tense? So how can you recognize it as an imperfect tense verb? Okay, next sentence. Tandem at last. And then the subject is eques, a horseman. It's singular. It kind of looks like a plural ending, that es, but if you look at the dictionary entry, you can see eques is the singular. The plural would be equites with that stem, that equuit stem. So eques is one horseman, equites is plural horsemen or cavalry. So at last, a horseman, and then the main verb apropinquavit, so that means approached, and then a means him. And you can see that it's in the dative case, and that's just because the verb apropinquo is what you could call a plus dative verb, a verb that goes with the dative case, right? Its object has to be in the dative case. So at last, a horseman approached him. Okay, then if we go on a bit, so we get some direct speech. Salve Gisco, hello Gisco. And you can see Gisco is the vocative case. Now, it looks the same as the nominative, but we know it's vocative because somebody is addressing him in direct speech. So, Salve Gisco, inquit eques, said the horseman. And then the response comes, salve comes, hello comrade or companion. And then he says, weni. Now, weni, as you can see here, it's an imperative form. So it's a command. So it means come with me. So me cum, this is just the same as cum me, right? So come with me for nam. And now I want another main verb here, which is going to be wallow at the end. For I want, so first person singular, present tense, I want. Now wallow is usually accompanied by an infinitive. So I want to hear, that's our infinitive. Omnia noa. Now omnia means all, and noa means new. And because it's neuter plural, it kind of means the new things. So I want to hear all the new things, or you could even say all the news. Okay. One other question here. This will be question 5. And question 5 is about line 6. And my question is, how can you tell that the word audire is an infinitive? So when you look at that word, what's the clue which tells you that that is an infinitive verb form. Okay, then if we go to the next line, so now we're in line 7. Indus is the subject. Look, he's in the nominative case. Indus, like servus, dominus, etc. Indus, now the main verb with that it ending, that's clearly our main verb. Indus went down or descended. De equo, so you've got de plus ablative, meaning down from, and then equo in the ablative case, meaning a horse. So you can see there, the word for a horse in Latin is equus, genitive equi. So I'm going to ask another question, number 6. Question number 6 is going to be about line 7. And my question is, what declension, what noun declension or noun pattern is that noun equus? So is equus a first declension noun, or a second, or a third declension noun? And if you're not sure, just have a look in the back of the textbook to remind yourself of what those all look like. Okay, so Indus came down from the horse. Mox is an adverb, so soon. Now, if you look at that next bit, sedebant, that nt ending tells you it's a plural verb. It's got to have a plural subject, so more than one person. And here we have more than one person, duo comites. So, soon, 2 comrades were sitting proper flumen near the river. Were sitting near the river. Okay. Then I'm going to ask another question here, which is going to be about line 8. So this is question 7. Looking at line 8, can you give me an English derivative, so an English word that derives from the Latin word sedebant? And remember, if it's going to be a derivative, it should have a related meaning, and also it should have at least, I would say, the first 3 letters probably in common with the Latin word. So that's question 7. Let's go on a little bit. So Indus is the subject. And then we've got here, between the commas, we've got what's called a relative clause. So that's just like a little phrase in the middle of a sentence that means who did something or other. So Indus, who. Now we need a main verb. Probably we'll find it at the end of the clause. So I'm looking towards the comma. And I'm going to look at merebat, because that's right at the end of the clause. Indus, who. Now mereo, it tells us, means I serve. So who was serving. In cohorte, in the cohort. And the vocab is actually telling me here the cohors Batavorum is the Batavian cohort, which was a private guard of the emperor. So, Indus, who was serving in the Batavian cohort. And then the main verb. Now, this is slightly odd that the main verb is coming so early, but actually we're about to find out why. So, Indus, who was serving in the Batavian cohort, reported, now it could be carried back, but you're probably not going to carry back senators, right? So probably it means report. Now, this is followed, if you see here, you've got an accusative, plurimos senatores, and an infinitive. So I'm going to add in the English word that here. So Indus, who was serving in the Batavian cohort, reported that plurimos senatores, many senators, very many senators, not just many, not multos, but plurimos, very many senators. Now the infinitive, the main infinitive is the one at the end, wanted, welle, and wallow needs another infinitive, so here's the other infinitive, to kill. And then Nero is the object of to kill, which you can tell from that accusative. ending. So, just to go over that sentence again, Indus, who was serving in the Batavian cohort, reported that very many senators wanted to kill Nero. Now, I'm going to ask an eighth question at this point. And this question is going to be about lines 8 and 9. In lines 8 and 9, what I want to know is what grammatical construction do we have here? So you've got your accusative plurimos senatores, you've got your infinitive velle, we're translating it with the English word that. So what is the name, it's a two-word name, for this grammatical construction? Okay. So going on a little bit, tum then, Indus, meaning Indus. He's the subject. He's got that nominative ending. I want a main verb. I'm going to go to the end. Narawit, he told or related. And then I want an object. Rem looks accusative to me, so a story. So then Indus told a story. And then you can see magni momenti. You can see momentum. This is the genitive case. So, a story of great importance. Right? He told a story of great importance. So just to go back to tum there, then Indus told a story of great importance. Okay, we'll go on a little bit. So now this dark blue part is Indus's story. So Indus begins nox erat. So it was night. It was night. And et. And then another main verb, pluebat. It was raining. Vehementer, loudly, powerfully, forcefully, something like that. So it's an imperfect. Sorry, vehementer is an adverb there. So it was night and it was raining, forcefully, we could say. Then what have we got next? Solus, alone. And then ibam, I was going. So rather irregular imperfect tense of eo becomes ibam in the imperfect. I was going per esquilias. That means through the Esquiline Hill, which is an area in Rome. So per plus accusative, through the Esquiline Hill. Then subito, suddenly, in the next sentence, an adverb. Then tres juvenes, 3 young men. And then I'm going to look for the next main verb. Exierunt looks like a good candidate. Came out of. And then a tenebris, a plus ablative, out of the darkness. Out of the darkness. And et. And then another main verb at the end, adierunt, they approached or went towards, ad me, towards me, and then another adverb, quickly. So that sentence means suddenly 3 young men came out of the darkness and approached me, came towards me quickly. And let's just do one last sentence here. So unus, one, whose, I say whose because it's genitive, like of whom, so whose face, vultum, I did not know. So nescivi, perfect of nescio. So one of them, whose face I did not know. Whispered, susurravit, whispered. Now this is introducing another accusative and infinitive here. So whispered that he, and then we need an infinitive. Ferre was bringing, that he was bringing to me. So mihi is the dative of ego, was bringing to me. And then we've got a proposal there in the accusative case. Okay, so I'm going to ask two more questions here. Question 9 is going to be about line 15. So in line 15, that pronoun say is referring back to the subject, which is unus. So what is the term, the grammatical term, for a pronoun like himself, herself, and so on, which refers back to the subject of the sentence? That's question 9. One last question, which is question 10. We've got this verb fere, to bring. Mihi means to me, so was bringing to me. My question is, question 10, what is the object of that verb fere? So fere is to bring. So my question is, which noun is the object of that verb? So I'm going to stop there, and you can get your answers all up to date. 10 questions. You can get them written down, and then we can go through them together.